Hello and thanks for tuning in to Far Above Rubies. Today we're taking a look at Psalm chapter 42 and talking about the thought, I thirst for God. I thirst for God. We're going to read verses 1 and 2 together. And they say this, as the deer longs for the streams of water, so my soul longs after you, O God. I thirst for God, for the living God. When can I go and stand before him? This passage to me sounds like these words: longing, thirsting, desire, hunger, desperation, need. All these words come to mind when I read this passage. A hunger deep down in David's soul for the presence of God. Is this what our walk with God looks like? Is it what your walk with God looks like? These are really challenging thought processes, really challenging scriptures, because we have to look at our lives. We have to look at the intimacy between us and Jesus Christ through these kind of lenses, through the Word. Is this what it looks like? Is this what my thought processes look like when I wake up, when I go to bed at night, when I'm going throughout my daily chores in my home, or when I'm doing my duty at work? Is this what it looks like? My heart saying, I thirst for God. I thirst for the living God. When can I go and stand before him? When can I go and stand before him? How much longer till I get to spend time with Jesus? That's what the questions there look like. If our walks looked like that, if we had that kind of intimacy with Jesus, we wouldn't be missing church. We wouldn't be having to drag ourselves to church. If that's what our walk with God looked like, if our hearts were that hungry, if we felt that kind of desire, if we felt that sort of desperation to get to him, to spend time with him, to worship him, to adore him, to magnify him in someone else's view, if that's what our heart's cry was, we wouldn't have to be prodded by worship leaders to move, to stand, to raise our hands, to clap our hands, to move our feet. We wouldn't have to be. If that's what our intimacy with Jesus looked like, if our heart's cry was, when can I spend time with Jesus, we wouldn't have to be begged to pray. Sorry, it's the truth. We wouldn't have to be begged to pray. We wouldn't have to be begged to step into a prayer room at church and join our church body in prayer over our service, over bringing our minds together and our hearts together with one mind and one accord so that something special happens. If that's what our heart's cry looked like, we wouldn't have to be fleeced to give money. And I'm not talking about people taking advantage of congregants and constantly trying to do a money grab. I'm talking about to open our wallets, period. We wouldn't have to be begged to do that. We wouldn't have to be begged to put a few dollars in the offering plate here and there. If that's what our hearts looked like. If our heartbeat was, when can I go and stand before him? When can I go and stand before him? Get out of my way. When can I go and stand before Jesus? Our souls were created to need him. Our souls were created to long for him. Our internal compass points toward Jesus. And it's just a matter of whether our ears are open to that longing, whether our spiritual ears are open to our heartbeat going, I need Jesus. I need Jesus. I need Jesus. When we fill that void, though, when we feel that longing, when we cover it up, when we bury it with entertainment, with social media, with stuff, possessions, when we fill it up with relationships, none of these things are bad. Okay? None of these things are necessarily to our detriment if we're not using them to smother our longing for the presence of God. When we do that, though, when we bury that desire to spend time with him under mountains of things of this world, we drown out that voice inside our hearts. We dampen that voice. We quiet it up. We shut the door and lock it with a key when we're trying to just say that desire in me, let's bury it under a mountain of stuff. Let's bury it under a mountain of entertainment. Let's bury it under a mountain of social validation and relationships. And that's what we're doing. we're silencing that voice in us that God put in us that says, I want to go stand before Him. Let us clear the clutter out of our hearts and find that thirst for Him again. Let us say, you know what? Relationships are great. I'm an extrovert. I love relationships. I do. I will take coffee and a conversation over shopping any day. I love relationships. But if I let relationships become my source of being filled up, that's a problem. If I let sliding my debit card or tapping my phone to the kiosk be what fills me up, that's a problem. If I let social media validation fill me up, that's a problem. If I let entertainment and constantly letting the noise of Hollywood and entertainment industries be everything that fills my mind and my ears and my eyes and makes me not even desire the presence of God anymore, that's a problem. We need Him, and our hearts know we need Him. Our soul knows that we need Him. Our spirit knows that we need Him. We need to clear away the clutter in our lives, in our hearts, in our minds, in our spirits, in our homes, and we need to say, when can I go and stand before God? I thirst for Him. I hunger for Him. Just like the deer seeks out the water in the forest, so my soul longs to stand before God. Let us clear the clutter. Let us find that thirst for God. Let us fill ourselves up with Him. And when we've filled ourselves up with Him, we are better able to decipher what other things can take up residence in our lives. Go and read Psalm chapter 42 today, and if no one has told you lately, you are loved, and you are cherished, and you are valuable. You have beautiful and tremendous worth, my sweet friend, and that worth is far above rubies. Thank you for being here with me today, and I will see you all again tomorrow. God bless you.